The gravel crunched as Thomas McAllister stepped out of his old pickup. He wore dusty jeans, a faded flannel, and a straw hat pulled low over his sunburned face. To the men in tailored suits at the estate auction, he was just background noise, a local farmer too poor to matter. Beside him, his daughter, Emily, stepped down. With sharp eyes and hair in a practical ponytail, she clutched a leather folder. She wasn't just here for support. She was the architect of their comeback, having helped him prepare every paper and study every clause. As they walked toward the gate, they weren't greeted. They were measured, dismissed, and scoffed at. The HOA president, a woman in a designer blazer named Sarah, muttered loud enough for everyone to hear, "Wrong event, folks, the flea market's that way." Laughter followed, but Thomas kept his eyes forward. Emily didn't flinch. She'd heard worse. Her father had taught her how to rebuild engines, harvest with precision, and calculate margins better than most MBA. The land up for sale had once belonged to Thomas's grandfather. It was stolen, piece by piece, through aggressive HOA liens, bad loans, and brutal legal maneuvers. Now, the slick, confident developers were back, ready to turn rolling meadows into concrete profits for their new gated community. But they had made a fatal mistake. They had underestimated the man they'd wronged. While the HOA board celebrated their aesthetic standards, Thomas was quietly building an empire. He was creating supply chains, running lean operations, and investing smart. His daughter had graduated from a top university with a degree in land use law, and instead of taking a corporate job, she came home. Together, they built a fortress of wealth that operated in the shadows, completely off the grid of public records. The auction began. The suits raised their bids with smug predictability, fighting over Parcel A and Parcel B, like they already owned the dirt. Then Thomas raised his paddle. Heads turned, smirks appeared. They expected the old farmer to back down after one round. He didn't. Every time Sarah or her developer friends raised the price, Thomas matched it instantly. Emily stood by his side, her eyes fixed on the auctioneer, her pen flying across her notes as she tracked their capital. Parcel after parcel, bid after bid, their calm silence began to drown out the room's arrogance. One by one, the developers started to drop out, confused and disoriented. They couldn't understand how this farmer had such deep pockets. Whispers rippled through the crowd. "Who is this guy?" Someone frantically checked financial databases on their phone. "There's nothing on file," they whispered back. "Of course not." Thomas and Emily had moved their funds through private agricultural trusts, a world the HOA's high-priced lawyers never bothered to investigate. Finally, the last parcel went up for bid. It was the prime land, with river access, the crown jewel of the estate, and the key to the HOA's entire expansion project. The starting bid was astronomical. Sarah smirked, certain the farmer had finally hit his limit. She threw out a massive number, looking around the room, waiting for applause that never came. Thomas didn't blink. He raised his paddle and increased her bid by a staggering $500,000. The room went deathly silent. You could hear a pin drop. Sarah's face turned a shade of pale that matched her expensive blazer. She tried to counter, but her investors were pulling her back, shaking their heads. They were completely tapped out. The auctioneer's voice boomed, going once, going twice. Sold. The gavel struck the wood like a crack of thunder. The sound echoed the shock on every face in the room. Emily turned toward the stunned HOA board. Her expression was calm, but her eyes delivered a clear, cold message. "You never saw us coming." Sarah, trembling with rage, stormed forward, her heels clicking aggressively on the polished floor. "Who do you think you are? Who are you representing?" she demanded, her voice shaking. Thomas finally spoke, his voice deep and steady, like the land itself. "My name is Thomas McAllister. This land was once my family's. Now, it is again." He paused, nodding toward his daughter. "And this is the future steward of it." But he wasn't finished. He pulled a second set of documents from Emily's folder, a set they had prepared for this exact moment. "And since I now own the land that controls all the access roads and water rights for your new expansion," he said, his voice dropping slightly, "I think we need to have a very long talk about your outstanding environmental impact debt to the county." The developers froze. Their entire project was now at the mercy of the man they had mocked just hours before. The McAllisters didn't stay for handshakes or applause. They didn't need it. The HOA had come to carve up a legacy for profit, but the McAllisters had come to reclaim it. They came for the soil, and they left with their history. Thanks for watching, and remember to subscribe to BestWithB12 for more stories like this.